Hello, fabulous Gemini. Welcome to your horoscope for the month of March 2014, General Focus. I am your astrologer, Nadiya Shah. Thank you for being here. Now, last month I talked about how a lot of the focus was on communications and perception. And those are lessons that I would like you to keep with you because some of that is going to re-emerge, sort of the next step evolution of the themes that came up for you in the month of February are going to re-emerge once we get you to April. And so this month becomes much more about paying attention to what is happening right now, paying attention to the ground on which you stand and how high you choose to go or desire to go. So I'll talk about next month once we get there, but do keep in mind that some of those lessons that have happened are not completely finished. It may look like that on the surface, but they really aren't. And really some very bold beginnings and some very important clarity is set to happen for you a little bit further down the road. And in order to make the most of that, you've got to get this time well as best as you can. And really the best that you can do is really all that you need to do. So I see you starting off this month, really the energy that you end last month with, begin this month with, is very much career driven. So it's looking at your ambition, it's looking at legacy, it's looking at how high you want to go in life, and looking at goals, maybe looking at what has already been so that you can now reformulate a plan forward. But there's a very dreamy quality to all this. So it seems very much like you want something and you have a dream and you have a lot of hope, but you may not necessarily have a very practical plan. And that's where this month truly provides the greatest gift, because it is, once we get you towards the middle of the month, that you look at what you have already done more thoroughly. You look at the foundations that are at the base of your experience, the base of your life, and from there you can decide what direction you want to go forward in. Now, when it comes to foundations, really this is so valuable, and I know that a lot of times that we can, as people in general, and of course as astrologers as well, really focus on all the external wonderful events that could be happening. But it really is by considering what's happening at the base of your life, what lies at the foundation, looking at what it is that you're putting into place that allows you sort of the bedrock to really manifest some more amazing things as you progress through your life. It is what lies at the base that will determine the strength of what it is that you build. And so it may be a little odd that you're sort of working backwards with that energy this month. So instead of looking at where you are now and what work needs to be done so you can get where you need to get, you're actually beginning from a place of aspiration. You're beginning from a place of having some very dreamy, in some cases very lofty, and in some cases, to be honest, some dreams that really are not grounded at all. Now, that doesn't mean that you can't absolutely have anything you want to have in life. I'm very much of the belief that you can. However, there is going to be a need to really ground some of those ambitions that come up. So either you may be seeing something way more idealistically or way more simply than it needs to, or you may be seeing something more pessimistically than you need to be seeing it. But regardless, whatever the case is for you in terms of how that energy is showing up for you in your life, while there is all this hope and there is all this ambition starting off at the month, it's almost as if the more off the ground you allow yourself to go, the more dramatically you will be brought to earth. And this doesn't have to be bad, okay? What it means is that that energy that's with you at the beginning of the month needs to be channeled correctly. And it needs to be channeled and grounded in faith. It will be grounded in more practical matters once we get you into the middle of the month, where you're more practically and honestly looking at taking an assessment of your life and looking at what you've actually achieved so far, how that can now help you get where it is that you desire to go. However, it is going to be by grounding yourself in faith in the beginning of the month that yes, you can have what you want, and yes, that you will be guided, and you're going to be open to inspiration. And at the same time, and here's the trick, and this is such a big trick that, and by trick, I mean, it's something that we each are learning in this life. It is certainly one of those aims that we all have, and really one of those really interesting lessons that we all are seeking to learn in this life. And it has to do with non-attachment. Can you want what you want so much and yet not be attached to it enough so that you're listening to the universe and making alterations as you go along? Because ultimately what it is that you want, there is a lot of evidence to get you in a really good place. but there is going to be a need to listen to life and have some fine-tuning happening there as well. Those of you who are doing anything that is artistic in nature, there's just so much artistic, creative, sort of blessed energy around you, especially at the beginning of the month, that I think that's really going to help you a lot to start looking at how to channel that into your art. But those of you who maybe are not so artistically inclined or in a field of art, I do think that the energy that's there, the inspiration that's there, certainly can be with you and can help you to stay open, to practice faith, and to practice non-attachment, so that when you do finally see what actually needs to happen, you aren't so daunted by it. It doesn't look like, oh my goodness, I have to climb this mountain. All of a sudden, I didn't realize how much further I had to go. If you can actually ground yourself in faith that it's not about the end goal, it's about the journey. When that work does show up, you'll be able to embrace it with the opportunity that it is actually providing you to refine your course and to really show yourself that it's about becoming who you need to become as part of becoming who you need to become in your overall life, instead of just having something or actually getting to some sort of end goal. Now, a lot of you, in fact, most of you, I think, are going to experience this month largely in the context of work, largely in the context of home as well. But there's going to be a percentage of you that might not. And I think that a lot of you out there, a percentage of you who aren't work-oriented or are no longer in that part of your life or your interest, are going to find that the energy instead becomes much more about how comfortable you are in your own skin, how comfortable you are in your own home as well. And so matters of home are going to be particularly important. There could be some changes, there could be some movements, people may come or go, and there could be some redecorating as well. And so it could be just that your physical home environment changes, but your focus on that is going to be largely determined by how important your career is to you. Because if your career is of prime importance at this phase in your life, given your unique birth chart, then that is going to take precedence, and your experiences are largely going to be around areas of foundation. But if that's not so much important to you, then this energy is likely to manifest in a much more literal way, where you're paying attention to what's actually happening in your home environment, making changes, experiencing some fresh energy, some fresh starts, all of which that should set you on a course of feeling more comfortable with yourself and feeling more comfortable with where it is that you are living in particular, where it is that you live now. As we get you towards the end of the month, the energy that you're taking in the end of the month, and as you start next month, there's a very strong friendship energy that starts, and the fun is going to kick in the last days of the month and as you enter next month. And so the focus on more practical matters is something that should be embraced. It's not going to be around for that long. And once we get you to next month, there's so much fun. And there's also, as I said, a lot of very strong intellectual energy that's happening for you at that time. That's going to be really important to make sure that you like where you are right now, that you like the ground on which you stand, and that you feel confident in the direction it is that you desire to go. That clarity is going to come. The answers are going to come as well. Any residual effects, any unanswered questions that you may be carrying into this month from February, because there was a strong sort of reflective energy happening then, that you carry into this month, is going to find its resolution now. And I think you're going to like the resolutions very much. Thank you for watching. It'll be a great month. Be fabulous and enjoy.